ESRB has recently announced they're going to be putting warning labels on games that feature microtransactions. So basically every single game, because I don't think any games released now that don't have, and it's not even, that's actually incorrect. It's not microtransactions, it's just in-game purchases. So that includes expansions and like direct cosmetic purchases and, you know, new maps, new characters, everything.
Will that cover expansions? Because you'd think that would be something outside.
I think when they the article I was reading said just anything you can spend extra money on in the game. So if you buy a game that's been out for a year,
well, that's going to basically cover every game because there's not really any game that does not have an expansion.
Pointless. And they kind of say it to like warn parents, but it's just like if parents don't know that games now have that, then they need to pay a little bit more attention to what their kids are doing, because every single game, that is video games, basically.
They notice it on their Visa bills.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, if you're giving your kid a credit card and saying, here, go play your game, it could be pretty high. So I'm going to read a little thing I found from an article. This is quotes from Patricia Vance, who is president of the ESRB. And the ESRB is the rating board for, I guess, electronic software. Is that what the ES stands for? Either way, they're the ones who put the rated M for mature or whatever, E for everyone on the games. Trying to make the podcast noob friendly. We'll see how well that works. Okay, so this is what she said about putting these stickers on. We were unable to find any evidence that children were specifically impacted by loot boxes or that they were leading them towards some tendency to gambling. And I'll break in here to say loot boxes are the parts of microtransactions where you don't know what you're getting. You're putting your money in, and it's just a random roll of what cosmetic usually you're getting. You're
not buying it to get an item. Yeah. You're buying it for a chance to get an item that you want.
To get the item, yeah. They'll tell you what items you have a chance to get generally, but they won't tell you the odds of getting.
And generally, you won't get what you wanted.
You're usually going to put some money in there before you get what you want, unless you're really lucky. To continue on here, we truly don't know any of the evidence supporting those claims, the claims that it leads to gambling. We continue to believe loot boxes are a fun way to acquire virtual items, most of them cosmetic. End quote.
Yeah.
She stressed that the items can be earned without a purchase, but in either case, they're always optional. So it's true. I think I've never seen personally a game where I played that microtransactions, especially from loot boxes where it is random, came into like the actual pay to win type stuff. I know there are examples out there though.
There are.
Yeah.
And that was the big problem with Battlefront 2, and the fact that you could pretty much pay to win because you could unlock characters and stuff and better equipment quicker. Quicker,
yeah. They're all able to be.
You could do it, but the amount of hours was ridiculous.
It was, insane amount of hours. Especially when a game first comes out. That's when you see these imbalances. People with a lot of money are suddenly, if it's pay to win, if you can buy things that help you in the game, it gets out of whack real quick.
I'm never interested in a game that's pay to win.
Yeah, me either.
If it's got some aspect of that,
I don't even want to be anywhere near it. Cosmetics, I had no problem. But I think I'll always have a problem with the loot box system of not knowing what you're getting.
Yeah.
It is gambling, and I don't care who says it's not. Well, how else would you define I'm putting my money into something, not knowing if I'm going to get what I want?
Yeah, if I'm going to get something
gambling
crap that I did not want, and I'm never going to use, or I'm going to finally get the thing I'm looking for $30 down the road.
Yeah. Or not at all.
Yeah.
You have just as good odds on your last roll as you do on your first.
I could see it being a big problem for certain other people that have addictions.
The science behind like brain development is you don't really finish your brain until you're like 25. If you get used to gambling type things when you're, I can just see if I had it when I was 12. I mean, I get addicted to games now at 31. I probably would have gotten addicted to the chase of something like a loot box. And my little bit of money I was making in my paper route, I'm sure I would have thrown it all at that. I already was buying video games like crazy.
I've already thrown a fair amount of money into a couple of the games. Rocket
League's advice for sure.
Yeah. Rocket League generally gets my money on boxes, and Overwatch used to when I was playing that consistently.
And there's a place for it. I'm not saying that there isn't, but I just don't think that. I think they could reach a market in another way. Like I could see maybe the loot boxes being cheaper, and maybe you have to pay a little bit more for the exact thing you want. Maybe there's a compromise there. But I don't know where you draw the line. And I'm sure these companies have done vast amounts of research to see which way will make them the most money, and we're living in that dystopian hell right now. But I could also see it changing with public pushback. The EA thing in Battlefront was huge. It went to like mainstream media.
Yeah.
So there might be a bit of change coming down the pipe.
So maybe EA will be a little weary with their other games coming out.
I hope we all forget because the news cycle's so quick.
Yeah.
We'll kind of see.
Or they'll figure out the next big moneymaker.
Yeah. Now it's just there's a stigma attached to it, which I think is a win for the gamers. Where it's like, in Destiny 2, there was no pay to win, for example. Well, there were a couple ghosts that were a little questionable. They gave you certain abilities that were an advantage, I guess. They weren't pay to win. But the backlash that Bungie was still getting, just on the fact they even had such a heavy focus on the loot box kind of portion of the game, even though it wasn't pay to win, it still had a lot of backlash just because there's a stigma around it, and people don't like it, and they don't. I think a lot of gamers do just miss the ability to unlock things, and it's like you did something cool, and now you get something cool.
The culture with Destiny was backlash regardless of whatever came out.
Toxic no matter what you do.
that developed early on.
Yeah. Yeah, Destiny is the only real game, I guess, I actually have put money into it. Destiny 1 got me real hard, because the first chunk of Destiny 1, there was no Eververse store with its
they
loot
came
boxes.
out later on.
And I was like dedicated to collecting everything in that game. And when that came out, they had me. They had me good. There were a few $50 sprees getting all the holiday items. Not good.
To preface it, we did get our money's worth out of that game.
I didn't buy another game for like 3 years.
We put thousands of that.
I got my money's worth.
We might have been close to the 2,000
prevented me from
mark.
buying. Like, that money would have gone into other games if I didn't have Destiny to play.
Yeah.
So, congrats, Bungie. You got it all. But they couldn't do that for Destiny 2. Not with games like Zelda and Mario at the same time, for me at least. Kind of sitting around. There were too many other things that can grab my attention. Let's see if there was anything else interesting in this quote. So basically that's why they just want to let parents know that they can spend money in these games, and the rest is up to them of how it's being spent.
That just seems like a cop-out. It was just them doing something for the sake of saying, we did something.
Yeah. They basically specifically didn't want to mention loot boxes, because just the term loot box doesn't mean anything to someone who doesn't play games. I think growing up to us, it was just something that was in the world. It's like, I'm going to go loot this monster. I'm going to go, there's a loot box here. I'm going to pick it up. It's not something you paid for. And now it's become a term of something you pay for a random roll. And so they don't want to put specifically loot box on the warning label. And they also, I think, don't want to put the word gambling on the label or simulated gambling, which I think they should have. They have simulated blood, simulated violence or whatever, simulated gambling with real world money.
Yeah.
A little wordy, sure, but that's I think the accurate way to portray it.
There's still court cases and stuff going on, or possible legislation going on in the EU, I believe.
Yeah, actually, and Hawaii, I think. In the States,
yes, Hawaii,
is pushing legislation for it as well. I'd like to see that stuff really get... I'm sure the companies will find sneaky ways around these things and relabel things.
To be honest, the game price hasn't gone up.
That's something I want to
get to in a long time.
I think we're due for at least a $10 boost. In the States, like the $60 game has been like that since...
Yeah, the cost of the game has not kept up with inflation.
I think since the PlayStation was $60 a game. At least the PS2. N64 got out of control. It was actually pretty high.
I still remember buying games for $59, $69, and they're still around that price.
Yeah.
Some of them are $10 more.
Yeah, in Canada, it's like $79, I guess.
Yeah.
I think they should be at least $70 American, if not $80 for some of the bigger games. Like a game like Monster World. Even.
Yeah.
You know what? Monster World, Monster Hunter. There's no microtransactions in that game, or any transactions, is there?
No.
That's actually a huge surprise.
There's just the there's a couple bonus things if you bought the deluxe edition.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Which is probably the price the game should be. I think it was $20 more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you can just tell, like, the level of polish in that game is really high, and
it's done them really well. I think they've sold.
It's their best-selling game.
What is it? 7.5 million already?
It's Capcom's. They had just announced it. I think it was today or yesterday. That's their best-selling game of all time. like they're the company that made Resident Evil, and this is their best-selling game. It's breaking down a lot of walls and expectations as well because they didn't expect one. It's not on a Nintendo platform. Apparently, they usually are, like on the handhelds and stuff. And it launched in Japan and here at the same time, which is like another big thing. They didn't think this market would be very receptive to that style of game or whatever, but we're all eating it up.
Yeah.
So it's a really big success for them. So I'm sure we can see more coming down, and it's probably gonna encourage them to support it and expand it as well if the game has that possibility.
If you've got that much of an audience, it's like if you release the expansions, you're gonna get the money coming in.
The license.
You've got the base.
Yeah.